Sorry about that, guys. Let's just start with some questions in the room.
Yeah, hi, Paul. Being that this is your last fight, has this fight week been any different, any more emotional or anything, or is it just the lead up with another fight?
In all honesty, it's just a lead up to another fight. But I'm aware that on the night it's going to be emotional. There's been times when I've been training, I've been on a run, and I'm thinking this is going to be one of the last runs that I do. Or pad sessions, I've been on the pads. This is the last time I'm going to do this, and the emotions start to hit you a little bit, and I know I'm going to get a good reception. And even if I don't get a great reception, I know my family, my friends are in there, out there, training partners for the 20 years that I've been involved in the sport, mentors, coaches, media guys that have followed me throughout my career. So there is going to be a bit of emotion. I'm prepared for it. I'm just hoping I can make it to the cage. I've envisioned all kind of things, like my mum jumping up and having to walk me the rest of the way because I'm, bawling my eyes out and shit. But, I'll make it to the cage, and I'm going to put on a fantastic performance and get rid of this guy within the time frame. But, yeah, I'm prepared for the emotions, but it's just another fight week.
Your win over Sabah Hamasi was like wildly entertaining and stuff. Did you ever think of kind of leaving it there? Like, was there any thought, or was it because there was no crowd that you wanted a send-off like this?
They offered me a good fight against Jason Jackson with, title implications. I thought it was a fight I could win. I'm never one to complain about injuries or make excuses after a fight, but my coaches will tell you that I had injuries throughout the Hamasi camp and the Jason Jackson camp. I didn't spar. I had a bad knee injury, bad ankle injury. It's no excuses, but, if you're going in against these type of guys, full camp covering all bases is required. And I didn't have that. But even so, I thought I could beat him, catch him with a punch. So I took the Jason Jackson fight. I couldn't leave it there. If I was going to retire, it had to be in the UK. So to answer your question, and there was an intention to retire after the massive fight, but the Jason Jackson fight was too appealing. As a fighter, I thought I could beat him.
And how hard is it to pinpoint a specific time that you're going to walk away? Because obviously you're still performing at a high level, but is this, like you said, you've been thinking about it for a while, so is it hard to kind of, like, how hard was it to pinpoint that this was going to be the last one?
I mean, it just makes sense, when things become tiresome and become boring, then I think that's the time for you to stop. That feeling might come back again. But right now, I don't have that same kind of energy that I should have to compete at this level. This camp I've had, because I was preparing for such a good, level of opponent. Wendell Giacomo is a good level of opponent, but I was preparing for former champions in, Koreshkov, and then Lima was thrown out there. So that gave me the motivation and the extra edge that maybe I've been missing in previous fights in this training camp. But I forgot the question, but yeah, I'm whatever, yeah.
The change of opponent, is that kind of hard to get up for a newcomer, or is this moment so much bigger?
It happened so late.
Yeah.
It happened so late. It was like 2 weeks out that the ball was rolling, and I'm happy it happened late, whether it was, the promotion's idea not to tell me till late, it was the best thing to do, because I've been preparing for Koreshkov, I've been preparing for a former champion. And so I get a new opponent 2 weeks out. It was hard to turn off that switch. This is what I've said in previous interviews, and that I'm going in to this with a championship mindset. I was supposed to face a former champion, a very dangerous opponent. So that is who I'm prepared for. And in a certain way, it might even be more. Wendell might be more dangerous because this is a huge opportunity for him. It's a big stage. Nerves, excitement makes people do crazy shit. So I don't know what kind of fighter I'm going to get, but I've prepared well. I've got experience, and I'm ready for whatever.
In a recent interview, you had mentioned that you were offered to box Dan Hardy, and you kind of turned it down because you used to have a good relationship with Dan and stuff like that. Is boxing, I know you're talking about walking away from MMA, but would you think about boxing at all in your future?
Did I say that? Did I say it? That was supposed to... Who was filming me? I wasn't supposed to mention that. But yeah, I had an offer to fight Dan. I'm not even sure if Dan knows, but I have email proof and text proof that, you know, I was offered a very lucrative opportunity to fight a former teammate. But I said this in an interview before as well, that I wouldn't do that because, you know, although me and Dan are not as close as we were at the stage when we started out in the sport, we kind of grew together to a certain stage, and it's like, even though you grow apart, you kind of still have that bond, you know. People that primary school we have here, the elementary school, you know, you grow up with some guys, you go all the way through elementary school or primary school here. You know, you might not see him for a few years, but you still have that bond, you know, from early on. So I wouldn't want to fight him. But yeah, chuck me some more names and some more money and have it not so serious, then there is an opportunity that I may compete outside of MMA. But realistically, I don't see the money or the type of names that I want to fight being thrown my way. So this is, this will be my final fight.
Not even perhaps Tyron Woodley, since he's boxed a couple of times, if they threw that name?
I messaged Tyron directly after he got knocked out by Jake Paul, and he declined to take the fight, saying that he wanted to get a rematch with Jake Paul. But I don't think he's going to get that. But yeah, I messaged him directly and he responded. He doesn't want the fight.
Hello, Paul. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good to see you today at Media Day. Thanks for taking your time joining us today.
Yeah, no problem.
I want to reminisce on the career a little bit. I know you've had loads of fights, had accomplishments that people can dream of. So what kind of really stands out to you now we're at the end?
Like you say, a long career, a lot of fights, a lot of standout moments. If you go back through my interviews, I say one of the greatest moments has happened right across the road at the Wembley Arena when I fought Mark Weir at Cage Rage. I think I was 23 years old. He had the fastest UFC knockout at the time, a legend in UK mixed martial arts, and it was for the Cage Rage world title, which was a legit title at the time, with guys like Anderson Silva and Vitor Belfort being champions at the time. So I went in there, 23-year-old young gun, against this guy with the fastest knockout in UFC history, 6'6", long-range Taekwondo Olympian, I think, and knocked him out. So yeah, that was a great moment. 10,000 people there. So
yeah, what a moment! Cool. And when you were a young boy and you wanted to start this MMA career, and as I talked about now we're at the end of the career. Have you set out everything that you wanted to do?
Pretty much, you know. I've never been in. Tell a lie. I've had one US promotion title fight against Jake Shields at Elite XC. It didn't go my way. That was quite a fight early on for me, and I was still really treating this as a hobby that paid very well. But yeah, I would love to have done many things, but you know, I regret nothing, so I won't even mention them because what's in the past is in the past now.
And then on the matchup against Wendell, promotional newcomer. I don't know whether it's been talked about yet, but how much do you know about him, and what matchup is he going to bring?
Not too much. There's a few fights of him out there. He's looks like a big, strong guy, massive cranium, nice big target. But yeah, he looks tough, strong, like all the Brazilians. Got a well-rounded skill set. And this is his big opportunity, but so he's going to come to fight. He's never fought someone with my experience, my skill set, my speed, my power, my athleticism. Never. I've gone through his record and looked at the type of guys he's been fighting, and I think that's going to be the biggest tell. But this is his big opportunity, and you know, some people do well in him, some people crumble, and I think this is one occasion where the contender is going to crumble. Thank you.
Hi, Paul. Obviously, it's been a little while since we've had you fight in the UK. I think the last one was against Eric Silva, where you got great win and also a really great response from London crowd. Do you think you're going to be getting a similar response coming into the cage this weekend on your retirement fight?
Most definitely. Like I say, I've been fighting at this arena since I was 20 years old. MMA, MMA is blown up now, but we wasn't doing too bad in UK MMA a while back. We were very fortunate to have great promotions like Cage Rage that were able to fill out the arena and give fighters like me an opportunity. So I have a fan base here, not to mention that I was only born around the corner in Park Royal Hospital, so I lived in London for 10 years. My family is still here. I've got a great UK MMA fan base no matter where I fight. I've sold places out up and down the country on small shows and selling out venues with 4,000 people when it is just me that's a name on the card. So I expect it to be no different on Friday. I'll get a great reception. I expect to put on a great fight and get a great win.
And obviously coming into retirement, what are your sort of immediate plans for retirement? You can sort of sit back and enjoy it, or do you have things that you immediately want to get stuck into?
No, I'm already stuck into a lot of things, and that's one reason why I can sort of take this moment to retire and sort of kick back for a little bit, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm in no rush to do anything big or major or announce anything. I could quite happily, work in Tesco's on the weekend, stacking shelves. I wouldn't mind. I have no ego, if that's what's needed, to pay the bills. But I don't see that happening. I'm in a fortunate position, but never say never. I'm just going to enjoy life for a little while.
No worries. Great talking to you. Best luck on Friday.
Nice one.
Thanks, Paul. We're just going to take a couple of questions from Zoom. Let's keep it rapid fire. One question from each of you. Let's start with Santiago.
Hi, Paul. Greetings from Amsterdam. Thank you for the time. You sat on the Bellator broadcast desk for one of the European shows. Right in front of you. I'm digital.
Oh, shit. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay.
No, it's all right. So you were on the Bellator broadcast desk for one of the European shows. Is that a role that you would still be open for in the future if that ever comes by? Because you did great, man.
Thank you very much. I thought I did great as well, but, I'm not in charge of who sits where and does what. If the opportunity came up, then I enjoyed it. But one thing I will say is when I retire out, I don't want to be a guy that's around the sport, because I think those are the guys that have the temptation to get back involved, and those are the guys that come back and don't do so well. So when I remove myself from the sport, I want to be completely removed. So if you see me sat behind a desk talking, then it's extremely lucrative. Otherwise, I'm just going to sit at home and take my dog for walks and stuff like that.
Kobe?
I always enjoyed watching you fight.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Paul. 2 decades of professional mixed martial arts, the number of wars, some great fights. What's the biggest difference you've seen, the biggest changes you've seen in mixed martial arts over that time?
The paychecks, most definitely. I think the younger generation are very fortunate. When I hear what they're getting paid, I'm like, it's crazy. I think the paychecks, but that reflects the popularity of the sport, I guess, and the money that's involved in the sport now. So just the general growth of the sport, it's good to see. It's good to see from where I started, and there were people before me, like your Mark Weirs, your Lee Remedioses, your Ian Freemans. There were people before me that have seen it even a larger growth of the sport of mixed martial arts, especially UK MMA, and having these big shows here. But yeah, the growth of the sport has been quite amazing.
Ben?
Hey, Paul, what's been your secret to riding the highs and lows of the sport, and how you've been able to keep your head in the game for nearly 20 years?
Because I know I'm a top competitor, if I've had wins and losses. Had I been more selective with my fights, like guys are now, I wouldn't have had some of those losses. But I'm a real fighter. I take all fights. I don't remember there being a fight that I've turned down. I take on all oncomers, all opponents, and that's partly something I was told while I was training at Mike's gym in Holland. Mike Passaneer says, Paul, you're a fighter. If you're in the street and you're with your wife and someone is coming up to you, you have to defend your family, stand your ground. You're not going to say, oh, no, I want to fight this guy. He's a little bit lighter, has a slightly short reach. No, I fight whoever's in front of me because that's what I am. So, and that's the mentality that I've taken into the sport. Hence some of those losses. But yeah, forgot the question again, but yeah, whatever.
Jay?
Thanks very much. And Paul, congrats on a great career. And, this being the last one and you having prepared for a guy like Koreshkov and now Giacomo, who's obviously a very experienced, explosive fighter himself. Is there any pressure to kind of go out and put on a show here, or even just eagerness on your part to go out with a bang?
Not really. I think, he's going to make the fight pretty much. I think his nerves will put him into dangerous situations. He seems to be quite a composed fighter in previous fights, but he's not fought on this stage against an opponent like myself who's extremely dangerous. There's going to be a lot of pressure on his side, so I think he's going to come out doing some shit that will set the tempo of the fight. I've trained well. I'm ready for everything. So whatever happens. I have no intention of going out there and swinging like a madman. But if he comes rushing at me, it is what it is. He's going to get caught.
And just finally, Dylan.
Dylan. Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás?
We'll go to Mills for the final question.
Hey, how's it going, Paul? This MMA Locker Room, part of Pub Sports Radio.
How are you?
Man, I just want to give you some little respect, man. I'm part of all the MMA community over here, man. We've been watching your fight since you came up from kickboxing, and you're what we call a fighter's fighter. Every single time you go in there, we know what you're going to put on. We know no matter what, when it's all said and done, those list of fighters, you're going to be on that top list. Hall of Fame status on there. Paul Simtex Daley. Put some respect on his name. It don't matter about the belts. It don't matter about the records. It don't matter about the wins. It matters about what you do inside that cage. And I just want to say thanks for all the fights that you gave us and everything like that. I can't wait to see you this Friday.
What you just said there is what every media outlet should be saying. I don't ask for it, but I respect that. And I hope what you just said, gets a lot of views. I don't like to blow my own trumpet, but sometimes I feel like what I've done goes overlooked, not necessarily by the fans, but by the media, and sometimes even the promotions I'm fighting for. But what you said kind of sums it up, so thank you very much.
Right, thanks very much, Paul. Thanks for your time.